let me just get right into it. What I wanted to do is just rehearse the argument in my paper. Michael Walzer endorses a politics of difference and thick moralities while searching for a shared minimalist morality. Allowing that the origins of morality are local and begin at home. By minimalist morality, Walzer means an intense morality close to the bone that might be acknowledged by thick moralities by analogy as being embedded in their own traditions. Far from being objective, this thin morality is rather, and using Michael's own words, reiteratively particularist and locally significant, intimately bound up with the maximal moralities created here and here and here in specific times and places. Rather than rationalized as shared or common or even strictly analogical, this would give us a moral aestheticism in which each iteration of this thin morality in its difference would be relevant to the totality of the effect. And so I really want to make something of this difference between a rational order that is reductive, the ontology, and an aesthetic order that is holistic, where everything is relevant to the totality of the effect. And so there's an ambiguity with the concept of order. A rational order is a privileged order. It's a dominant order. It's a cosmos as opposed to a cosmoi. It's a logos as opposed to a logoi. And so it's a different understanding of order. Cosmologically, such an understanding of this one in many order is the aspectual relationship between the myriad things, the Wanwu, and the unsummed totality called Tao, in which there is no single privileged dominant order. And I mentioned, in our discussion, this Tao Te Ching that David Wong brought up, where it says the sage ruler has no constant mind, but takes the mind of the people as his mind. And then it goes on to say it is a muddled mind, and that he treats the people, his people, like children. And so, the idea is that children don't walk in a straight line. Children laugh 250 times a day. That children don't function according to an order. Each one of them is sort of self-motivating, self-disclosing. And so the idea, and the fact that it's the child treats it like a child, then goes to this idea of family that I want to talk about. So, as an internationalism, cosmologically, as an internationalism, the identity of each focal holographic state emerges from its unique pattern of relations within the vital functioning of the world organism. And the living global ecology is engendered by the mutual accommodation of these unique focal states, as this unbounded ecology is construed from the alternative perspective of each state. So each element within the order is construing the one from its own particular perspective. Not autonomy and simple equality among states, but relational equity with diversity emerging from activating their differences. For me, when you ground a hypothesis in a fiction, you end up with bad results. I think the concept of the individual, in some foundational sense, is one of those fictions. I think the Westphalian idea of sovereign and equal states, Iceland with 250,000 people and India with 1.4 billion people, that doesn't compute, that doesn't work. And so what you need is relational equity rather than some kind of simple equality. And relational equity gives you diversity rather than being variety. that you find in the Westphalian model, you have a diversity by activating their differences. So Walzer, having proposed a common garden variety of justice, other liberal voices, such as Bob Solomon and Elizabeth Walgast, abjuring transcendental notions of justice, argue that such an understanding of the grammar of justice is learned and formulated within our life forms at home. So I use the canonical texts in the Confucian tradition to argue that the distinctively Chinese conception of the political from earliest times has been the isomorphism between family, state, and world, with the state and world being simulacra of family. 家国天下同构. I want to follow the same train of thought as Walzer, Walgast, and Solomon in proposing a Confucian alternative, family feeling, as it is captured in either the notion of family reverence, xiao, or as Sun Xiang Chen was saying the other day, this notion of qin qin, family affection. And I want to propose Confucian China as an empirical example of a minimalist morality, with the caveat that other thick moralities, rather than being persuaded by China, will find consensus in the sense of shared feeling, not some univocal thing, but simply shared feeling within their own values. What is China and where did it come from? I appeal to Zhao Tingyang's whirlpool explanation, while at the same time criticizing his Tianxia system as being a kind of Rawlsian transcendental rational theory that is contractarian rather than appealing to the family feeling basis of China's continuity. So I celebrate Zhao Tingyang's idea that we've talked about the European Union as a as sort of a model, but the Chinese Union happened 4,000 years ago, when the idea of being a Frenchman and a European, being a Greek and a European in China, you had the same kind of diversity as Europe, but you had this kind of consolidation of China as one civilization, one history, one political theology. So why family feeling? And I'll end on this. Most fundamental, it's the most fundamental human institution and the highest value for most people. And so in that sense, you get this intensity and closeness to the bone. It is a strategy for an optimizing symbiosis. Family is that human institution that has the potential to get the most out of its ingredients. So this idea of an optimizing symbiosis, it produces a positive sense of shame through a sense of belonging. It's an entry point for developing moral competence. Family is not optional to morality. Loving others is a precondition for morality, and one learns to love others by being loved within the family. That Susan Moeller Oken, that family is a classroom for higher order concepts such as justice, where can you have a just society where you don't have a just family? It challenges the ideology of a zero-sum kind of individualism. It teaches the wisdom of interdependence, that if your neighbor does better, you do better, that the only way that you can be an exceptional teacher is to have an exceptional student. And the more exceptional the student, the more exceptional the teacher. It's the ultimate source of economic and social security. There's no government organization that can do the work of family as the ground, the backstop that keeps the world together. And most importantly, and we got this from Workanek Kelbessa's presentation yesterday, and that is that most of the world's population look more like the Confucians than they look like liberal Europe or liberal America. That if we're looking for something more than a polemic, then maybe family feeling would be a useful way to think about a minimalist morality.